The Sonic Movie Show is a weekly podcast that you can find on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Just search for The Sonic Movie Show and give us a like wherever you listen. What's up, Sonic friends? It's episode 22. Oh shit, I forgot the inaugural line. I am legitimately jinxed. This sucks. I mean, one thing I have been thinking about all day is my mom never texted me happy birthday. Neither did David. I don't know which one hurts more. My dad did it twice and I responded with happy birthday. I have an aunt that got the day wrong. She did it like yesterday. What's up, Sonic friends? It's the 22nd inaugural episode of the Sonic Movie Show. A show that has seen the movie twice and is here to report back on its second viewing. My name is Ethan. With me is Devin.
I can't believe Crazy Carl was right.
About the movie or Sonic? So, today is February 16th, 2020, and we saw the movie a second time. We saw it 3 days ago for our episode 21 of the Sonic Movie Show, or a review of the movie. It is now 3 days later for us, 1 week and a day later for y'all, and we're going to sit here and basically talk about our thoughts on the movie after seeing it a second time, right? The way we watch movies is different the first time than the second time, especially when you have all this anticipation for a movie. You're waiting years for a sequel to a movie you liked so much, and now it finally hit, and you're watching it, and the things are happening, you know.
The emotions.
You're having thoughts, but you still haven't seen what happens next, and all that is different the second time around. We already know that Tails shoots Sonic in the head, and Shadow does mouth-to-mouth to revive him. You know what I mean? We've all seen that in the movie. And so when it hits again the second time, we already know what's happening next, and we have thoughts on, you know, how it's flowing into the movie. So basically, that's what we're going to do today.
We're
little random things.
Our thoughts, maybe changing them a little bit. We're looking for different details that we might have missed. After we watched the first time, I looked on Twitter and people pointed out things that I know we missed and didn't talk about on the last episode. And now I was looking for those. So, yeah, basically solidifying our thoughts.
You know, I've seen a few reviews of the movie after doing our review of the movie. So, yeah, basically, I guess we're just going to hop around. We're not going to recap the movie.
Yeah.
You've already listened to the terrible recap we did last time. You know, let's make something very clear. This is a spoiler-full episode.
Yeah, if you're watching
we're
this
assuming,
before or listening to this before the last episode, and you haven't heard our review of it, please do that first before doing this one. This one is going to be all over the place. All over the place.
Exactly, yes. Maybe I'll put something at the very beginning that says, this is a spoiler episode, you know. We assume you've seen the movie, and we assume you've listened to our last episode. If you're a first-time listener, wow, thank you so much. You should probably pause the episode and listen to a review for the Sonic movie before coming back here. Guarantee you're going to love it. Or maybe you'll hate it and you just won't come back to this episode. In that case, I guess it's a win-win for all of us.
Or you're just going to shake your head in disagreement for over an hour and 45 minutes.
They probably left already. maybe they're like, oh, one of them doesn't have their mic on anymore. So why don't we start with you here, sitting over in that corner, looking all guilty. You brought a notepad into the movie theater. You wrote like 3 lines down. Tell me overall your feelings about this film now that you've seen it a second time.
After seeing it a second time, I will say that I think I said a 7 out of 10 last time. I'm going to say a 7.5. I'm boosting that up. I'm feeling better about it. I'm feeling it. What really solidified for me was the fact that this movie is fun. Even though I knew it was coming, I knew it was all the jokes, and I still giggled at them, and I had a good time. It's like a roller coaster. I knew where all the jumps were going to be, or when I was going to go upside down, but I still enjoyed it the second time. For real. And that's what I was worried about when we were going to go see it again in our time, 3 days.
3 days, less than
that. But I was worried that I'd be bored or I wouldn't laugh at certain things. But no, I will say that I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it the first time. Less awe, I guess, but there wasn't that much awe to begin with. It was more just like, this is a fun movie.
Yeah.
So.
For me, honest to God, I kind of didn't want to watch the movie today. I knew we had to at some point, and it made it easier for us to see the movie earlier in the week than later. Maybe it was just because I didn't really want to go see a movie I've already seen on my birthday. But for me overall, like, it's funny. You said you went up half a point from 7 to 7.5. I was at 8, and I'm going to drop down half a point down to 7.5.
Just so we can agree.
Overall,
the official, that's the Sonic movie review score. All right. Put it on the Wikipedia page.
We don't solidify a review until we come into 100% agreement. But no, actually, I mean, I'm dropping down for different reasons than you came up. For me, the movie felt, the second time around, so much smaller, very eventless for the most part. I feel like there was too many things happening. A lot of stuff happens in each event, but overall the events are kind of just like strung together like beads on a string, you know what I mean? Until we get to
I can see
Green Hills again.
How you see that?
And, watching the movie the first time, you don't know what's happening, or, obviously you know what's happening as it's happening, but you don't know where you're going to be taken next, right? And so having come back full circle and already know where we end up, watching the movie again, it felt very small to me. And to be quite honest, overall, the use of Sonic as a character besides the quippy fun stuff felt a whole lot smaller than I had a feeling for last time. I remember walking out of the theater 3 days ago and being like, I want to see this movie again. I want to see a sequel. I'm pumped. I had a lot of fun. I gave it an 8. You know what I mean? The second time around, I'm like, I don't think I ever need to see this movie again unless duty calls and we need to do an episode about something weird. You know what I mean? That's just me. I still really like the movie. I still think it succeeds on a lot of points, but it was definitely a first time amazement showing, not necessarily a movie that I can watch, whenever I'm feeling like it. But
I also wanted to point out, before we go more into details about the film itself,
that your mic wasn't been on.
Yes.
This whole time.
I just want to say that the crowd we saw on the first night, which was on Thursday night at 7:30, in a major, not a giant city, but a major city.
We've described our theater's location and all that in a previous episode.
But I just want to say that was around 70% full. This was like 95, and I wouldn't say that there's definitely more kids there with like their parents or whatnot. I would say, as opposed to the other one.
Definitely more audience sounds this time around. Too.
Luckily, we were in the Dolby Theater where it wasn't distracting. Because I think if we were sitting in the regular one with those kids, it wouldn't have been as fun. But I will say though, like usually I get kind of bothered when people are talking or commenting on every little thing. This is also a comedy kids film that like it actually warmed my heart. That like a couple seats down, there was a little girl who just was loving it, like laughing at like the jokes that we weren't laughing at. When Jim Carrey yells, it's like ha for us, but like for that kid. Like, that kid loves it. Loved that Jim Carrey reacted that way. And, like, that,
the scream when he sees Sonic for the first time?
Yes, that one. Like, I remember the kid was, like, giggling up a storm over there. And I was like, that, like, to me, like, I didn't make it or wasn't involved in it, but, like, it felt good to be part of a community where, like, for kids that they're enjoying it. Like, it reminds me a lot of when, like, I watched Godzilla as a kid and, like, I enjoyed it. I remember when I saw Godzilla 2000 in theaters when I was 6, and like how much I enjoyed that. And then I saw that same loop when I saw Shin Godzilla, and there was a little kid who was like 10 sitting next to me, and I'm like, that was me 10 years ago. And for video game movies, this kid might like Sonic, play a game or two, or just like animated movies, and like if the kid's having a great time and the movie succeeds in that, if a kid's laughing during this movie, a kid's movie first, that's good. That means it's winning. Like at the end of the day, that's what it's for. It's for the kids. And I heard a lot of kids laughing like that. That I think is a good thing and makes me feel good. I like to see people having fun. It warms my cold heart.
Maybe it's you and I are both gamers with a lowercase g. Capital G is for the racist and misogynist. We're lowercase g gamers. And I'm sure quite a lot of people that might be listening to this episode are video game fans, right? Maybe it's just something innate to the kind of gaming scene culture where, like, it's mainstream, but it's not, like, mainstream. You know what I mean? Like, the kind of things that we play video games aren't going to be well known. So maybe it's just like the wanting to see people that we think would have no interest or idea watch a video game or something for the first time and react positively to it. Maybe it's just that kind of desire deep in the lizard brain in our heads, you know, that when we watch this movie in a packed theater and we see people that might not even be kids laugh at Sonic things or whatever, you know, it makes me really happy. I will say this though. So you said it was like a 95% packed theater. This time around we had better stats because we got our tickets late and we could see what seats were empty. True. And not very many. Because last time we got our tickets like 4 days in advance or something crazy. Basically as soon as we could. You know, you and I sat next to each other. The guy sitting next to me when I came in was asleep.
I saw that.
For a lot of the movie. He was sleeping through the trailers. I'm like,
he had that Dolby. Tired dad energy.
This is a Dolby screening. You're sitting on a subwoofer. How are you asleep? He laughed at two parts. I don't remember what the second one was, but the first one was like 80% into the movie when Sonic says, what do you keep in this bag? A jar of pickled farts. He laughed at that and nothing else before that part. I'm like, what does this guy find funny? Because that line was dumb. Like, I don't think kids even laughed at that. The audience was great this time around. I know, like, you know, you were saying if we were in like a regular non-Dolby or non-IMAX screening, it might be a bit more distracting. I am 100% okay with children making noises during kids' movies, during animated films.
Yeah, if I'm seeing The Incredibles 3 and there's a bunch of kids and they're enjoying it, I can't hate on that. If I'm going to see The Shining 2 or it would be Dr. Sleep and there's kids in that and they're laughing. If I'm going to go see Iron
Man 4, I don't want to hear anyone. If I'm going to go see Pixar's Onward, I will be 100% okay with hearing kids. It's just different to me.
It's you have to read the room basically, and it's in the genre. Like if I'm watching a horror film, I'm not gonna. I want
right.
You can scream, I guess.
Get all pissed at someone that screams. What the fuck, man? We're trying to watch a movie here.
Yeah, or like a drama. You know, if people are talking during the whole thing, it's whatever. Like I went to see Harriet Tubman, or I think it's just called Tubman, and me and Bryn had
I think it's just called Harriet.
Harriet, and there's two like drunk old white ladies sitting next to us, just talking up a storm, and then like one of them got up and Bryn told one of them to be like, "Hey, leave!" Like basically like bye, and they got pissed at her. But I was like, "You're talking during a movie that's about a very very terrible time period in our history."
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, back to Sonic. Do you want to go through any other thoughts that you had besides this? It was good or it was bad. Any details?
Minor little like correction kind of stuff. Because we were asking like, is Sonic a kid? Is he not? He was a baby in the opening. They call him Baby Sonic. And then right after that, after they show the Sonic the Hedgehog like title card, it shows Green Hills. It does say 10 years later.
I wrote that.
So he is definitely a kid. That Long Claw character is an original character. Like that is not a character in any Sonic thing. And I'm going to be a little bit conspiracist. I think that character existed before the redesign, and that's why the character looks pretty photorealistic. Like that's not like a Sonic OC. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like that's like an owl.
And I also,
you know what I mean? But then the echidnas show up and they look like Knuckles. They don't look like if we made a photorealistic echidna. It looked like the original animation style of Sonic for the owl.
Yeah,
it also is weird because I think we both agree that Baby Sonic probably didn't exist before the redesign.
I'm actually going to backtrack on that. I'm going to say that he was, but he wasn't part of the marketing plan until the success of like Baby Yoda. Like
I can easily see that be the reason why they're doing a They did that Baby Sonic poster and
because I
TV
feel like
spot in
imagine
Japan.
if he was, a regular, like he was a Sonic self that we saw 10 years later. It'd be weird to have him like have that whole scene, then say 10 years later and he looks exactly the same or acts the same way. I don't know. So part of me, I feel like backtracks a little bit, being like, no, I think that was in it, and they're like, hey, baby Yoda's hot right now. Let's drop a poster for Japan, but then like it'll come into the American market anyways because Baby Yoda, in my opinion.
Exactly, and then Baby Peanut, Mr. Peanut, and then Baby Target Dog.
Hashtag Baby Nut.
Exactly. They'll try to reboot our presidency and make Baby Agent Orange to try to recoup any goodwill. Other weird little things. There were more references that we saw this time around. The Sonic animation of him standing on an edge and like teetering on and off. It's in the motel scene. You finally recognize the Smash Brothers pose that was briefly thing. But like my whole like thought now is these. I don't even want to call these fan service, or they're barely Easter eggs. Like they're so
more
brief.
Easter eggs than they are fan service. Because to me, fan service is something that you're 100% like easy to spot. Like if
and they did it for no one else but like people that would know.
Yeah, like if Sonic said, "You're a fake hedgehog" or whatever, like that was the line. I'd be like,
"I found
okay.
you, faker."
Yeah, if you said that, then I'm in like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, because there were barely any like, and this sounds like complaints. It's not really a complaint. But it is my thought process. There wasn't really any like references to the video games, really. Not that there needed to be,
I don't
but
think
like
there needed to be,
a lot of the ones that were like, oh, Sonic does the breakdance pose, which is actually also from Smash Brothers. It's one of his taunt when he is first in his cave and he's running around like crazy. In there, he quickly does like the breakdance on the floor. That's a Smash Brothers taunt. There's like a lot of that little kind of stuff. Doesn't really add or take away from the movie. And to me, they feel almost like when they were doing the reanimation, okay, so we all reacted negatively to the original animation style. So they decided we need to reanimate it and we need to regain all this goodwill from our Sonic fans. We can't like add in a whole bunch of lines and references to the game. So we can do a lot of visual stuff. Since we're already reanimating him, we can make him do the kick in the air, the teeter thing, you know what I mean? Weird little ways he's in the spin dash ball. We can animate these with our budget to kind of be like, not an apology, but be like, here, there's.
Or they might have already had
original
that in
cut.
There. We won't know. We won't ever know.
I don't think. That's my thing. Is I don't think that they did. In my conspiracist head here, I think that they did that because the movie was going to look like to a lot of fans like a classic fish out of water. It's Garfield. Here's, an animated character voiced by a comedian with a bunch of humans around and interacting, not doing Garfield stuff. You know what I mean? I think they were kind of like, we need to add in a few more of these things. I'm not complaining. Obviously, I liked the movie and I liked those things in it. But that's kind of my thought there, is that those were almost like a somewhat of an apology.
I have written down here, island where I'm from was what he said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I know we were kind of confused. Was it a planet or what? It says island. We just don't know what planet that is. Or is it just like, that island on that entire planet? Or is there multiple islands? We don't really know.
I would love to think that it's the entirety of the Sonic games have all their areas on that planet.
Yeah.
But then like the mushroom place, I think, is clearly a nod to Green or to Mushroom Hill Zone. When they briefly show the map, there's one of the planets looks like I guess it wouldn't really make sense, but like one of the Robotnik stages that he built in one of the later levels in a couple of the Sonic games. Like it kind of looked like it could be that,
And clearly his island isn't that small, because he says it takes me 2 seconds to run the whole thing. But it didn't even look that big either.
No. And like we initially brought up, like, do they say it's his world, his planet, or you know what I mean, in their original review of the movie, because we didn't know if they were distinctly saying that it wasn't on Earth. But we get really close to, like, right after that, they say, oh, you need to go to a different world, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like I don't think that was necessary if they needed to say, I'm on a planet that's not Earth. You know what I mean? So
I also
there were a couple weird little like joke or exposition things that like felt unnecessary, like how Sonic explains that all advanced cultures use rings to travel between worlds. When he says that to
I took
to
that
Tom.
more
like,
as
that
a
felt
joke.
way unnecessary.
I thought that was more of a joke where
Really?
he was saying like, "Duh," like you don't know that kind of thing. That's kind of how I took it. I also wrote down his shoes are moccasins, almost look like moccasins when he's a baby. Because that was one thing I was trying to look like. Does he have Does he have bare feet or not? And then I saw that he had like these little. They didn't show it very much, but these little, like your classic.
Does the key art
moccasins?
The key art for Baby Sonic, does they show him with the shoes?
Do they,
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know now.
Because then I
They
saw
definitely
people on
gave him
Twitter
tiny
talking
gloves.
about how like, oh, Sonic has paws. Like his feet have a paw print. When he gets the Puma shoes, like it shows briefly his like torn up socks.
Yeah.
You could see like white fur underneath the
Yeah.
socks. So I was like trying
And
to
I
see if he was
guarantee it's
barefoot
because
or not.
there's never any official Sega thing ever that shows Sonic without his shoes on. So, of course, I could be making that up. In fact, I actually think that might be 100% wrong. But in any case, lots of other random little things. What can you think of?
I want to correct myself from last episode where I said that the whole baseball thing. I listened to what he said, and I think I'm confused about the man at third, thinking it was a actual runner at third. I think that's the third base coach.
Yeah.
So therefore, he
And
had
for
he had an inside the park home run to win the game. Also, I did notice that the baseball score itself on the thing said 9.
3-2-1.
It said, "Oh, did you see that? I saw the final score was 9-8."
Oh, really?
I don't know if that means something.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking about it said a 3-ball, 2-strike, 1 out or whatever when
Oh,
they
it was
were,
a full count.
when
Yeah.
the government's there.
Full count, yeah, with 1 out.
3-2-1.
But it said 9-8 final 9-8 final score with the home team winning. So I'm like, is that a reference? I looked up 1998 Sonic, and that's when Sonic Adventure came out. I don't know. That's probably a stretch though.
9/9/99, day of the Dreamcast. That's when Sonic Adventure came out. No, because like if they were to, they would have done 1991 because that's when Sonic first came out.
That's why I was like,
Um,
but they're probably trying to make it a dramatic. Like if
that's another thing that's crazy to me is they didn't actually do references like that. You know what I mean? They didn't do.
I was looking for license plates and stuff. Like there's a lot of cars in it, and I was looking for license plates that say like something like.
So now there was one in San Francisco when Sonic is being chased by Eggman. There is a street sign that says Mega, and then it's Mega Drive because that's the Genesis's name, and everywhere but America. Because there is no I'm sure there's no Mega Street. It's a weird name, but there was like some of that stuff. But like they were so far in the background, it's like you gotta kind of dig for them.
Speaking of vehicles, after Sonic and Tom leave the bar there, and it cuts to the daytime after the hotel and stuff. It cuts to when Eggman visits the bar to get information. I could have been seeing things. It was like I saw it for like a half second, but on his truck, his big metal truck thing, it's pretty dope. Could have sworn there was a sticker on it or some sort of like emblem on it that said AAA, like as if like that's his in to why like they're fixing up things or something like that, but also getting information that they like the guy wouldn't talk to anyone else. But if it's AAA, they're here to help. I don't know. I could have maybe misread it. Maybe it was a different sign or something, but it said AAA.
Speaking
on the
about
truck.
things on trucks, when we first see Eggman's semi roll up, we get a shot like straight down the truck, like kind of panning up, and there is an emblem on the top of the truck, I guess, like on the front of it, that I'm trying to read and I can't read it, and I'm like, I have no idea what brand this would be, a vehicle, if that is a thing, or if it's a reference to like Robotnik stuff.
I don't know.
Because there was a lot of little like words, like I said, Mega Drive, when Robotnik turns the power back on in his truck thing, one of the breakers says badniks. That's what his robots are called in the games. You know, there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Someone that said self-destruct too. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Like he has one breaker that's just for making the whole thing explode. Speaking of that scene too, I didn't notice this until now that so Eggman comes out of that by himself, and then behind him Agent Stone is walking out of there. I just thought that was kind of like goofy that like he gets his own whole giant truck to himself and then has Agent Stone driving.
Yeah. I wonder if he drives the truck or if it's just automatic.
I'm assuming it's
I would
automatic,
assume he just has it automatic. Yeah. It's so interesting too that like that's what he chooses as his like operations thing is the truck, you know? It makes sense for this movie, obviously. But like I wonder what Robotnik's like home laboratory looks like. You know what I mean?
Well, if we get a sequel, I think we'll know more about that. I feel like they're definitely going to have him involved again based off
they have to. Like here's the thing, because we joked about like an Eggman standalone film or like there's no way in hell that Sega or Paramount, whoever is in charge of like making all of these movies, like a plan, you know, for them, there's no way in hell they're like, okay, we can split this up into a universe like Marvel. Like Tails can maybe get a movie, Knuckles can maybe get a movie, and they might do decent, but like you start getting too many of those and people are just going to drop off out of boredom.
Yeah.
Like they need to make every single one of these movies titled Sonic and then something. Maybe Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or Sonic and Friends, or you know what I mean? Sonic and the Fight or something, you know.
Well, sadly,
and Eggman should be the villain in every single one of them.
Yeah, and sadly, not sadly, I guess, but I know some people were thinking like, oh, if this gets a sequel, it should be Sonic and Knuckles. But I don't think we'll get that now with a Tails. You know what I mean? Maybe they call it Sonic and Tails.
They should save that for the third one.
Yeah.
So they should save that for the third one. I want to know when Shadow comes in.
That's the only other villain I can think of that isn't related. Like, if they didn't do Eggman,
isn't Eggman related.
It'd have to be Shadow.
Because Metal Sonic is Eggman related. Do we want to acknowledge, like, Silver the Hedgehog and all that Sonic 2006 stuff? Because he's a villain turned friend kind of thing, but, like, I don't think...
Maybe as a side character, but not...
We're Sonic fans. We're not Sonic friends. We are not Sonic friends. We're Sonic fans. And if you're a new listener, you might not know that, like, we're very constructive with our criticism about Sonic. There's a lot of Sonic that we don't think works, that we think is very poor in quality. A lot of bad stuff in Sonic. I would argue more bad than good. And that includes his friends. You know what I mean? I don't think that, like, they can hold interest in characters that the general audience doesn't know. Like, if we were to rank all of the Sonic characters by how well
people know them,
sort of like, there's a recognition score. I forgot what it is. This is like how popular someone is. At one point, Mario beat Mickey Mouse. I think that turned back around. I think Pikachu actually is more well known than Mickey Mouse, just because of a worldwide thing. But if we were to rank all the Sonic characters by that, it would most certainly go Sonic, Tails, Eggman, Knuckles. I would think in that order.
Something
and then
like
after that, like, maybe Shadow.
But that's like...
Maybe... like, Shadow would be the closest.
No one would know unless it's...
Vector the Crocodile?
It's Sonic, though.
No one's going to know who the hell
Sonic
that is.
that people know. The only reason they might know Tails is because of Sonic. If you can't know Tails and not know Sonic. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Obviously, you can't know Luigi and not Mario. But like Sonic and Tails, they're the duo, they're the pair. You know what I mean? That's why, like, when people complain, and myself included sometimes, about like, oh, all of Sonic's friends are terrible. We don't mean Tails. We kind of mean Knuckles sometimes, kind of, but we don't mean Tails ever. You know what I mean? Because he's Luigi. He's the one we like. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic fans would love to see Silver in a movie. They'd love to see Blaze
the
the
cat.
Cat.
General audience want to see that?
They would love... I mean, what?
Well, I guess it's kids.
So, like,
would kids want to see Big the Cat? Would they know what that is? I don't know. Maybe if you put him with Sonic,
I mean,
but not by himself.
I would ironically love to see an extended scene with Big the Cat trying to find his frog. How many characters in the Sonic universe are just, what if Sonic was bad? We have Mecha Sonic, which was the Sonic 2 boss, Metal Sonic, Sonic CD. We have Shadow, we have Silver. Sonic 2006's big villain, his name was like Maleficus or something. And he was just like, what if Shadow was super evil? He's another evil Sonic looking thing. We played Sonic Forces way back in the day, and I want to call it way back in the day because I feel like we've moved on as people. The villain in that is just a, what if there's a bad Sonic, you know? Like, that's like 5 I can name off the top of my head, and I guarantee there's more in some of the games I've never even played. Or like, what if there's a bad Sonic? You got to get rid of all that stuff. Mm-hmm. No one, like,
Eggman isn't a bad Sonic. Exactly. He's the only one that's like,
but like, he can
something.
make Metal Sonic. You can have Metal Sonic in a movie, and Eggman can be behind it. You can have Shadow in a movie, but there needs to be something where they team up. There needs to be an a super villain behind the whole movie itself. I don't want to see Silver. I don't even remember what Sonic Forces dude was named. He sucked that much. His name was like Forever or something stupid. I don't want to see the Sonic 2006 dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, if they were to take this series further, I just honest to God want, and like, keep it cartoony. Like, again, Sonic's body was based off Mickey Mouse. He is very much a line of like, this is like kind of like a random cartoon episode. Sonic and Eggman fight again. Eggman's gonna do this thing again, and Sonic has to stop him. There's no actual continuity between all of these things. There can't. He blew up half the moon. Where does he get all this money? You know what I mean? He built an amusement park. Sonic Unleashed has him literally destroy the planet. It breaks into like 10 pieces. And they slowly separate from each other. Like, none of that's continuity.
And that's
so
fine.
It is literally
and
just
that's fine, by the way.
Yes, that's good. That's how you can get like a lighthearted, goofy, our hero has to beat the over-the-top villain. That dynamic, that setup should be in every single one of these movies. And when they don't do that, it should be surprise twist it actually is Eggman. Maybe make it Shadow, but surprise twist, Eggman's behind it anyway. You know what I mean? And Shadow and Sonic team up or something.
And after Jim Carrey's performance, I want more of Eggman. It's not like don't give me a sequel. If they do a sequel, I hope it's not a sequel where like, oh, in the meantime, Eggman's still plotting, and like here's a separate villain. I
don't want that.
And then
don't
he'll be back in
Thanos
the
him
third.
Or something.
Yeah.
I want him in every single one. I want Sonic and Tails. Maybe that's what you call the movie: Sonic the Hedgehog and Tails. Maybe Sonic and Tails.
Sonic and Tails. Eggman's Return. I don't know. Whatever. But
honest to God, Sonic and Tails is a pretty dope title, just as it is. But yeah, like Eggman comes back. He's got Sonic's quill. He's got that power. He can come back somehow. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe make that. Maybe he's trying to take over one of Sonic's worlds. I guess we're kind of moving our discussion into what do we want the sequel to be.
Let's kind of.
If I were to,
I was gonna say we can give our final thoughts on it, but I think we should save it till we can confirm there's a sequel. Once we hear that, I'm hoping we do. I think we will. I think it will. Because box office, by the way, is projected to be better than Detective Pikachu, which would be holy shit.
And I will stick both feet down my throat, out my ass, and I'll walk on them again. Because I did not think it would do better than Detective Pikachu.
I didn't either.
It will.
We had it projected.
I legitimately think it will.
It made 100 million worldwide just this weekend. And that's not including today.
That's a third of what I thought it would make total.
That's insane. But awesome, by the way. I'm all for it. Not saying like it doesn't deserve it, but no, that's great.
And because it's a fun movie that people are legitimately walking out of theaters, adults, and being like, see the movie, it's a blast. You're going to have fun. They're not saying like, if you have kids, I guess take them. Or if you really want to see a train wreck, go see the movie. Or like, if you're a Sonic fan and you just need to see the movie. It's
honestly all the buzz right now. Like the advertising's all over the place, and then people are actually responding to it in a positive way. That's all you can ask for if you're them. But it's
a quaint movie that doesn't try to be more than what I think that they think they could have pulled off, and it's a good time. So like, yes, it's gonna make money, and I'm glad.
So you were going to finish for a sequel, or do you want to? Because I have other stuff here.
I guess so. Like I said, every movie should have Eggman as the villain. Do you think that the success of this movie, let's say they do a sequel and the budget goes up, because usually that's how it goes. The budget always goes up for the sequel, especially if it was this like safe of a movie for the first one. Do you think that they're still going to do everything on Earth, or do you think that they're just going to be like, and Tails tell Sonic that they need to go to this other planet or something?
I still want a
just a
chemical zone.
Eggman's going to be in it.
I think it'd be maybe he somehow pulls Sonic to him. Like we're all thinking Eggman's gonna come back to Earth. What if it's the other way around? He somehow
maybe that's how he gets out. He uses the quill to like lock onto Sonic's coordinates and pull him into his world. Sonic, in an effort to leave, ends up letting Eggman out.
Maybe he builds a factory, and that's where we get his first like on using the mushrooms. Somehow he's able to, like, it doesn't have to be realistic by any means. All of a sudden he just has like this huge factory he's been working on for years, and he has
all
his
we
minions,
know about that
robot
mushroom
minions
planet.
Building it.
All we know about that planet is that Sonic said all it has is breathable air and mushrooms. But did he explore the planet? Is there maybe under the core is an ancient civilization? They could write anything they want.
Well, I'm saying, and Eggman's the smartest human,
exactly.
So he could find a way to break down the mushrooms into a metal or something like that. Like they don't have to be
like I'm saying, like there could be just super rare malleable ore underground or something. Yeah,
even that.
That like.
But I like the idea of maybe he brings that, but
or maybe they don't even need to explain it. Maybe he's a super villain that is kooky, crazy, and brilliant, and maybe he's just on a revenge quest for Sonic.
And I will say that I said last episode that I felt like that last like couple moments there, he became more like the Eggman we know. Like before, it was like Jim Carrey, but he's still evil. But then at the end, I feel like he definitely lowered his voice, made it more growly, like the kind of the Eggman we know. I could have sworn it sounded like he switched it up a little bit at the end there, especially when he's in Mushroom World. That like maybe he was trying to transform into that. Maybe he could have done it a little bit better, throughout. Not until the very end. Maybe it would have been more noticeable. Or I'm just reading into it too much because it is such like a short amount of time. But I feel like he definitely lowered his voice and sounded more like the Eggman that from the games. And he also his physique kind of has changed into what the Eggman we know as well.
Closer to it.
And I'm like, you know what? Like if he starts doing that to make it show like it was a transformation, like he was Robotnik, but now he's Eggman now.
I know how they can make him fat. You know how they can make him fat? Easy way to write it in. The mushrooms are just extremely big on calories, and that's the only thing he can eat.
Yeah. That works.
Sonic could burn it off, but Eggman can't.
But no, I think we kind of agree that it has to be Robotnik.
I'm glad to see that he is on board with more.
Same with Ben Schwartz.
I mean, like, what do we think that the odds are that they don't make a sequel to this movie?
Well, with it,
I think that's really low.
Well, it was the money. It was the money that came down to. Like, let's just say, like, it doesn't matter if it was good or not. If it bombed,
well, right,
then no, then they're not going to do it. It's money.
And I'm talking about it made a lot of money. It made its budget back already. So clearly now everything is like, all right, let's see how close we can get to like a no-brainer, make a sequel. I think it has to, but who knows? Maybe they'll be like, all right, maybe they'll be smart. In their minds, smart, and be like, we need to like take a step back, really examine if we want to go forward with this. How do we not screw it up? Or maybe they could do the opposite and do a worse thing and just be like, awesome, now we're greenlighting 3 movies and we want them every year.
I wouldn't want to greenlight 3 movies. Yeah, I would want it to be like, hey, we're going to do a sequel within 2 years.
Yeah, it's going to star Ben Schwartz. I almost called him James Cameron. Jim Carrey. And that's all we're announcing so far. Stay tuned for 2022.
Don't even confirm Tails, anything like that. Just keep it simple.
Maybe even make a joke of like, and we're not going to have to reanimate him this time.
So it'll be sooner. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Just a couple extra things I wrote down. Here, I noticed that Tom highlighted. There's one point where he's talking when he first calls his wife on the phone. He like is using a permanent marker and highlighting a route to San Francisco on a map, And I thought that I'm like, was that supposed to say? I guess maybe that was like saying, or it's like foreshadowing, being like, oh, they're going to San Francisco.
Glad that they didn't spend too much time, honestly, any time at all, trying to figure out how to get to San Francisco.
Yeah.
They're just going there, which I think is good, because, like, it is weird that someone would use a map in this day and age instead of using, like, GPS on their phone.
He's also Montana, no signal, man. No signal out there.
That's true. They obviously also established that he's, like, everyone's dad or uncle that, like, doesn't have any apps on their phone.
That is the one. Now that you say that, like, I remember last episode I said, why doesn't he just use Google Maps? He doesn't have any other apps on his phone. He has all the basic ones. Oh, so maybe he only has, I don't know what kind of phone he had, or did he have an Android? Whatever, it doesn't really matter. But maybe, don't they come with basic map apps?
It's a stupid nitpick. He did have an Android phone. I don't know what, like, actual manufacturer it was, but it played the standard Apple ringtone. The marimbas.
Oh. Yeah, it's probably whatever.
Obviously, that's whatever
ring they could get.
That was just, and they do it like 2 or 3 times where his phone rings and they show that the phone isn't an iPhone. No, like, I don't think there was really any scenes that, like, could have been cut to save time.
The movie's already kind of short.
Like the movie's small and short. Yeah, it's like just over 90 minutes. And I don't think anything was unnecessary. I don't really think that the whole bar scene was super useful, but it was just a moment where them to really goof off and, like, become actual friends, you know? Mm-hmm. We needed to see that. I kind of do wish that, like, maybe they did something else other than go to, like, something that I would not think would have had anything to do with Sonic the Hedgehog, you know? But they made the movie work, so I can't really, you know, nitpick and say you should have done this or that. If they made a movie that was successful at making a live action Sonic the Hedgehog, you know what I mean?
While they were in the bar, by the way, I wrote down Sonic does the Boy Scout, like, on my honor hand signal while he was saying, like, I think it's when Tom was saying if we do stuff on your bucket list, you know, this is it or whatever. And then I forgot the exact line, but he says something basically saying, like, you have my word or whatever. But he does the on my honor, which is when you put your 3 middle fingers up, and then I
remember that.
Yeah, he did that, and I didn't notice it until the second time, and I'm like, oh, I'm an Eagle Scout. I get that joke.
It's crazy. How old do we think Sonic is? We know 10 years later.
Let's say he was
like maybe
5,
12, 13,
maybe 15 tops.
Yeah, he can't be too old. He was, like, moody when he felt, like, all alone,
which is, like, closer to 15.
Not like,
yeah, so
not. He was never, like, pissed off. Like, I hate the world, you know what I mean? That Shadow. Oh my god, what if they make Shadow, like, literally an edgy teen?
He's like, you guys just don't understand me.
I kind of want to see it. Like, you know how the humor almost writes itself. Them just making fun of how into himself he thinks he is. Oh, man. I want the sequel tomorrow.
What else did I write? I wrote Supersonic. The last part there where, like, towards the end when he gets all electric lightning powers, like he has been throughout, based off his feelings, I guess. Was that a missed opportunity, perhaps, for Supersonic? You know, the classic.
No,
Super
I think
Saiyan
if you want to do
Sonic.
Supersonic, which, yes, Supersonic is 100% ripped off of Goku going Super Saiyan. They turn yellow and their hair goes up in the air. And they collect 7 things. 7 Chaos Emeralds or 7 Dragon Balls. Although the Dragon Balls don't make them go Super Saiyan. Anyway, no, because I think if you were to do that's probably what the sequel will be, is the Chaos Emeralds. You need the Chaos Emeralds in order for Sonic to go Super Sonic.
They bring Thanos into the universe because he needs 6 or whatever.
Maybe Eggman finds one on the world and it's... So, like... okay, I'm a big Sonic fan, but I don't know like everything. To my knowledge, the Chaos Emeralds aren't like the Marvel Infinity Stones in that they don't have certain qualities to one that another one doesn't have. They're all just power sources. They're the Chaos Emeralds. Shadow can use one to warp, but like it doesn't like there isn't like this is the space Chaos Emerald, this is the time Chaos Emerald. You know, like, they're just the Chaos Emeralds. They're just power.
Yeah.
That could be how Eggman gets out. He finds one on the planet. He hooks it up to his little computer. He had it on his wrist. He figures out how he can control it, and he warps off. That could be one way. Actually, you know what? I think that's what the sequel is the Chaos Emeralds. Tails and Sonic needing to get them to save the universe or something crazy.
Or maybe that's how he uses or finds a way to get back to Earth. Uses a Chaos Emerald to...
Yeah.
He discovers it. He realizes on all the planets that Sonic has access to with the rings.
Yeah,
all have Chaos Emeralds.
That could be. And and you know that's how we get Knuckles, and he's protecting the Great Chaos, the Master Emerald. Which I forgot what its deal was, but it's connected to the Chaos Emeralds. You asked if that was a missed opportunity for Supersonic. This is one of those moments where I'm like, I'm glad they didn't do the Sonic thing because there's not enough time to make it justice. You know what I mean? There isn't enough. Like, he barely did any loop-de-loops in the movie, and that's fine because if they were to do a big set piece run in the movie, they would have had to cram it in somewhere. You might as well save that for the sequel.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I was just
the more I think about it, this movie is good that it's how quaint it is, because then they can save the things for a big bombastic sequel.
Well, I was going to say, like, I agree with you. I just wrote it down just to see if you had the same thoughts.
I saw you writing when he does it on screen. Like, he's going to ask about it. Oh, sorry, real quick. It's not that it wasn't something I noticed last time, but now, again, having seen the movie a second time, you know where it goes and all that. There are two moments in the movie where Sonic does the electric thing, the super big, he goes crazy, the baseball diamond, and then when he destroys the robot that turns into a smaller robot when they're being chased, he does use his power. The quill that he left behind in the next scene is like glowing blue. That's how James Marston, or Tom, sorry, sees it in his house when it's all dark. The thing is glowing. And after Sonic destroys the robot on the chase on the freeway, Robotnik sees it glowing out of Agent Stone's pocket.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess it's kind of like... And then later, in the climax, Sonic sucks all of the energy from the quill and the egg carrier thing into his own body again. So it's not like... I guess they're kind of trying to say that the power is like literally a part of him, and even when it's not attached to him, it still is in the thing he left behind.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like a radioactive material or something like that. Like if you you can have an ore of radioactive material, but if you take a chunk of that and bring it with you, it still has that capability. If it's
do you think that let's say they make a bunch more of these movies, but like just sequels, not expanded universes, literally like Sonic 1, 2, 3, 4. Etc. Do you think that they'll ever like try to explain how he's like that? Because none of the games do. He doesn't have parents.
Well, they leave it
open.
They leave it kind of open with this, with saying that what's the owl's name? Longclaw. That she mentions to him that people want your power. So maybe he was created somehow by something. Maybe he comes from a Chaos Emerald. We don't know. Like he was a regular hedgehog and got powers, and maybe his ancestors stole it from the echidnas on this planet.
Yeah,
like there's a tribal warfare there. There's a lot of things they could do with it. So I feel like they could explain it. They leave it open enough to where they could add more to it if they want.
Here's one little tiny layer on top of that now. So in the games, when Sonic and Tails are playing in Sonic 2, Tails keeps up with Sonic. But none of the material ever solidifies that Tails can go as fast as Sonic. It all depends on what the medium is, what game it is, or whatever. Tails in this end credit scene goes fast.
Oh yeah, he zips through. Probably as fast as Sonic.
He go fast.
That boy's fast.
So then if we are doing Sonic's power is not inherently born in him or something, then maybe Tails has it too or something,
Who knows?
Maybe they do it to Tails. Tails is supposed to be younger than Sonic. That is canon.
By like maybe
He's
1 or
supposed to
2
be a
years.
genius. You know, he's supposed to be like, I think like Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2 is like Tails is 8 and Sonic is like 16 or something. Tails is his like little buddy. He's a kid. And he's done more than Sonic has ever done since he was a toddler.
But no, that's all I really had down.
I'm trying to avoid saying. I edited the Sonic episode 21. Every single time I don't know what to say next, I literally just be like, "I liked this movie," and then that's supposed to be my ending of a line. I'm trying to avoid doing that this time.
No, I have I think everything down. The only other thing we didn't talk about is It's All About Family, Tom, which we talked about before for Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
And I also have I Was Breastfed actually written down as well. So
I like how when he's just like, nice. Rub that in my fat orphan face.
It is a good line. But yeah, I think that's all my thoughts. I know we kind of talked more about a sequel, but in terms of details,
I was expecting to like go in and have all these little tiny things here or there.
There really wasn't, though.
There's stupid nitpicks that like aren't necessary. They're not film criticism, you know, that we could go on and on and on about, but like that doesn't really show us anything. I think that this movie will get a sequel. I think that they'll play it safe and do one movie at a time. Hopefully they can keep it at a quick clip. Hopefully they get the same writers back. You know, I would assume
with the same writers. Remember when we first did this show, we talked about who was behind this film. These writers,
that's right.
These writers this was their first big gig, most of them.
Yes.
So good for them.
And their first big success. So yes, that's right. We did, I think, a whole episode talking about that.
Because the director was on the animation team. Jeff Fowler was on the animation team for Where the Wild Things Are. Besides that, most of his team, we couldn't really find anything besides a bunch of shorts. So this is the first like in theaters, major theaters film for most of these people, besides the actors.
So I think that being said, absolutely, I couldn't imagine any one of these people not want to be in the sequel,
because you don't know if you never get a chance again. If a
sequel
sequel comes around, they say, or Sega and Paramount come to you and you're like, "Hey, we were thinking of doing a sequel," and if this was your first big one, you're not going to say no. I wouldn't,
unless Marvel already got to you first.
Yeah.
If Disney got to you first, maybe you won't. Maybe there's scheduling conflicts. I think the only big maybe is Jim Carrey, but he seems like he had a fun time
which
doing
was
this movie.
different than I thought it was going to go down. Because when we first were getting,
we figured he was in for a paycheck.
Yeah, but he seems
but now he's in for a penny, in for a pound. So I'm happy about that.
But Ben Schwartz, from interviews, he seems to genuinely
100%
he loves voice acting.
He said that. He's said that. Please let this movie do well so I can get a sequel. He wants.
It's the other characters that I'm not really sure about, like
Agent Stone. He's gone. I honestly I asked you, do you think if the sequel would take place on Earth at all?
Maybe not.
I think they have to start off on Earth, and I think it's just going to be Sonic saying goodbye to Tom.
So you don't have to fill.
And that's it.
I don't know if they're going to want to be in it. Maybe if they do, great. Maybe you can. I would be totally down with having more of them.
But I would love to see Tails interact with Earth now. Like, it's funny. Before the movie ever came out, and we were on trailer 1, I was like, "Is this going to be dumb? Because it's just going to be a fish out of water. Sonic doesn't know what any of these things are, and he's going to be, reacting to things like that's crazy, or how stupid is this, Tails can be doing that, but Tails is coming from a place of like, I know how machines and stuff work. I am hesitant to say I want a Sonic movie that doesn't take place on Earth, because I actually kind of want a good amount of it. Maybe Sonic and Tails have their own little base on Earth, and then they like travel to a different world. It's not like they have to be stuck on a chemical planet forever,
But oh yeah, I mean, guess we'll find out. I hope we find out
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. But for all we know, it could easily be months after. But I feel like usually with movies, when you know there's a sequel, they usually announce within the same
Right away.
time period, or maybe towards the tail end of its run, just to get a couple extra more butts in the seats when people are like, when they, people who for some reason didn't know that Sonic was a good movie, then they somehow hear there's gonna be a Sonic 2, and they're like, oh man, it must have been good then. That must not have been a meme. Let me go.
I don't
want to
miss out on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
it could boost a
Didn't
couple
think about
extra
that.
sales. But wait, isn't the Sega announcement coming next week?
That's right.
That could be a good time to do it. But that's a hard thing if they're planning to do this ahead of time, that's a hard thing to bank on.
I bet they have a rotation on some of them. I guarantee they expected the movie to do well. And it would have been a shock to them if it didn't do well. At least maybe that's my hope, is that they have,
you have to be confident.
The confidence.
Yeah, the confidence. But after the first trailer and all that, I'd be sweating bullets if I was Sega and Paramount. But then Detective Pikachu.
Most of our thoughts about that are like when we didn't know how well the movie was. Now that we've seen the movie and how they've like handled the reanimation stuff, I think they felt like they were doing a really good job and treating it right by fixing it. So I think they came on with some confidence. They basically like pitched the movie as if they didn't have that first trailer. As if they're like, here's a brand new movie. It's called Sonic the Hedgehog. You've never seen this before.
When does Mario come out?
Next year?
Do you think we can get a Sonic, if there's a sequel, we get it before that or around
So
that
the
time?
studio that's doing the Mario movie is Illumination, which they're the stupid Minions movie. I think it's 2022.
Oh, that's even farther then. Oh, then maybe not.
Yeah, it's 2022.
I think we have a better chance of
I
Sonic.
hope they learn lessons from this movie.
Well, it's not just that, and Detective Pikachu. I think now the standard's been put.
They've been raised way up. Detective Pikachu is a great movie. It wasn't as true to Pokemon as Sonic was, even though Detective Pikachu was literally based off of a specific video game, and the Sonic movie isn't. Sonic does feel more true to Sonic than Detective Pikachu felt to Pokemon.
I keep going back and forth.
But Detective Pikachu is a far more interesting and creative film and concept than Sonic is.
I think that's how we'll...
So
I think we should end this episode is, could you... I keep going back and forth of... I think I have recency bias. Which one do you think is better? Sonic or Detective Pikachu?
I think Detective Pikachu is better. Because I feel like that movie feels like it has more wonder and a larger scope to it than Sonic does. Sonic made me laugh 10 times more, though. But Pokemon gave me feelings. It made me feel the feels. So I don't know. What about you?
The thing is, like I say, I feel like I'm leaning towards more Sonic, but only I think because I've seen that twice. I haven't seen Pokemon twice.
Within 3 days.
Within 3 days.
I haven't seen Pikachu since we saw it.
In theaters.
For
I feel like
3.
I'd have to watch it again and then come back and be like, yes and no. Because there's the things I didn't like about Detective Pikachu was mostly just, like at the end, I didn't like the tail end of the movie, like the whole climax with Pikachu fighting Mewtwo. I felt that was kind of like, but I get it, it's a Pokemon movie.
Eggman is a better villain than the dude that was the villain in Detective Pikachu.
Ditto.
The rich guy.
Ditto there.
And Ditto,
There's some cool things in Detective Pikachu, that's for sure, that I didn't expect.
I liked seeing Mewtwo, but I feel like Mewtwo wasn't handled correctly. I don't know. There's like some things
it's hard to compare them, I think.
Sequel. Yeah.
I say they're both very solid,
different.
though. I'm glad that we had them back to back because I feel like we needed that. Especially with,
and at one point they were the same year.
Yes, exactly.
They were going to be the same year. They both of these films raised the bar for video game movies.
And I will say it's not like a super high bar.
I think now it's expected.
It's not a super high bar, but
right. But there is a level of expectation that you can cater to people that isn't a general audience about things that the general audience might not know. Mm-hmm. Like they can make references of Pokemon and Sonic that general audiences aren't going to know, and it can still be a successful film, and it can still be a good film. Like I want to see, like, this is dumb, but I want to see a Zelda movie, a Metroid movie. I want to see Half-Life Metal Gear, John Voight Roberts has been apparently trying to get that movie going for like a decade. Like, make a Metal Gear movie, but don't make it
We still have the Uncharted movie,
unique
too.
thing called Metal Gear. Make it an adaptation of Metal Gear Solid. The Uncharted movie, so that's a Naughty Dog game. Last of Us is a Naughty Dog game. At one point in time, Sony was trying to make movies off both of those games. And the Last of Us movie was literally just going to be a retelling of the game with actors that aren't Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson. Which, like, come on. They're the voices of the characters. Make them... And yesterday, Neil Druckmann, who is the creative director at Naughty Dog, so he's written The Last of Us. He's co-writing Last of Us 2. He's written Uncharted 4. He's Naughty Dog's, like, face, essentially. He tweeted out about the success of Sonic, and he said it's almost like if a studio treats the source material faithfully, that you can still make a good movie that people will like. He said something like that, and I almost feel like that's a shot at the production hell that the Uncharted movie and the Last of Us movie have been going through. There was a time where the writers on the Last of Us movie said that Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley, who was the gameplay director at Naughty Dog, they said that they've seen the script and liked it. And then Neil Druckmann comes out and says, I've never even had a script handed to me. I have no idea what they're talking about. You know, like, I want the success for these two movies to show that it's safe to actually go full in and just do the thing in a movie.
The only thing I'm going to kind of disagree with you is the fact that you're like, well, it needs to be them because they're in the game. I'm going to kind of disagree in the sense that
if they're doing straight up just the story in a movie form,
but
then it feels like it's lesser. Like, it feels lesser.
Well, if you get, let's say, your favorite, let's say you get one of your favorite actors though playing it that actually, like, I would be okay with giving a chance to someone more who's experienced in acting. Like, I can't think of his name off the top of your head, off the top of my head here. He was just in The Gentleman.
Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, like, put him in as a character
I would love
in Uncharted.
whatever you're about to say because it's Matthew McConaughey.
That's what I'm saying. What if he was like
this was funny
Drake's
about
brother
the Uncharted
or something?
movie.
He kind of looks like a guy who could play that.
The original Uncharted movie casting had Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake. In the current casting, he's Sully. That's how long that movie's been in production hell. He's gotten old enough that he can't be Drake anymore. It has to be Tom Holland or something. I'm fine with that stuff, but like a very story-heavy video game like The Last of Us or Uncharted, it almost feels like an insult to be like, and now it's a movie, so now it's important, and we need actors to play these characters. It's kind of like Kojima got all big, and he's on his own, so he hired actors to be the characters in the video game, because in his mind, he thinks that makes the game feel more legitimate. And I personally don't like the idea of someone being like, okay, this is cool now that it's being taken quote-unquote seriously by Hollywood by having an actor be.
But I mean, a lot of the general audience
story.
won't know those stories without it, though, probably. That's the hard part. And also,
those
you can
games
kind of
are multi-million sellers.
Yeah,
they're fine.
No, I'm saying like the general person who went and saw Sonic today. I can guarantee you, probably half those people probably don't even played a Sonic game.
And hopefully, Sega hopes that they will.
Yeah, and hopes that they do. Exactly. No, I mean, I'm
surprised that there wasn't like a big announcement on a sale or something.
I get what
like,
you mean, but
hey, the Genesis collection on platforms are 90% off. Buy Sonic or something.
No, I get what you mean, but I'm just gonna kind of play devil's advocate and just say that like
you're not allowed to.
That like you can argue that actors are better than voice actors because they can do things physically and not just by voice.
All of those Naughty Dog games has those voice actors actually doing the motions and acting in the scenes.
I know, I'm just saying, but someone might not see it that way. They might see like, no, it has to be flesh and blood, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like Hollywood knows otherwise, and Hollywood can prove, to people. No one knew any of the people involved in the Sonic movie besides Jim Carrey and maybe Ben Schwartz, maybe. And maybe John Marston, maybe.
James.
But, like, less. I said the Red Dead dude again. And I didn't last episode, and I pointed that out, and I was very proud.
We need to get him on the show, and you just have to pronounce his name wrong the entire time.
All right, John.
He's like, it's James. He's like, okay, John.
I don't even like Red Dead. I don't even know why I'm calling him John Marston. The bar has been raised to a respectable level. I would say an Iron Man 1 level of like, all right, we can do this. It clearly made us money.
We had a couple arguably good video game movies here and there. You can argue. I've heard people say Silent Hill. I liked Silent Hill, but I've never played any of the games, but I've heard people disagree on that.
Silent Hill 2 is one of the best video games of all time. That early 2000s Silent Hill like poster, clearly they used early Photoshop to remove the mouth, and it just looks like they took the forehead and clone stamped over the mouth.
But no,
but I never saw the Tomb Raider movies. I never saw Doom.
I did, and they were all right.
The Rock.
But I'm saying like there was never was consistency. There never was consistency. Maybe we can finally get out of the video game movies are bad. If we can get one more, if either A, we get a Sonic 2 before Mario. If not, Mario comes out and it's good, then I think we can say that we're out of video game movies are bad officially.
Just like comic books took a while to find their rhythm, video games can too. Maybe we'll do an episode where I pitched it to David once. He was probably bored as fuck. I pitched him my Pokemon movie, and I pitched him my Final Fantasy trilogy movies. And like, there's a way that comic book movies are successful at adapting their source material that is different than a novel or a TV show or just an original way. People rating movies that have nothing based off them write them as movies, not as a story that get turned into movies more often than not. Comic books, their highs are in different parts than a novel are. Their lows are at different parts of the novel are. The flow is different. And Disney, well, Marvel first, then Disney bought them, managed to find how to make those good. Not saying earlier comic book movies were bad, but they didn't have the feeling that a comic book can give you that the movies do now. Video games don't have that yet. I would even argue still, there's a way to actually get that to work. And I'm excited to see video games be the next film boom. I would love that. I would love for like Legendary scoops up Square Enix or something, or like Nintendo gets Paramount.
Yeah, honestly, I could see
like
that because Legendary is one of those production companies that's not afraid to take a couple risks.
Lionsgate too,
yeah. Them two do always. Like you'll have something out of left field. I'll be like, "Oh, Legendary."
They're the more standard Hollywood version of like A24 or Annapurna, or like Annapurna and A24 are like anything that sounds like it might be deep, we'll fund it and make it seem like we're artsy. Lionsgate and Legendary are like, well, it still has to make us a lot of money, and they can. Like, maybe we'll use an episode. Maybe I'll pitch my Final Fantasy movie.
We'll have to, but speaking of what we're going to do next, we'll probably have an episode next week about what the plans
the
are.
future of the show.
What the plans are.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. I feel like we should wrap this one up. We're getting a little over.
Yes.
So we have to do a very big episode. I know, coming soon. So
yes,
we've talked about it before, though, right? We've talked about it here.
We will explain it in detail next week. You should look forward to that. And while you're waiting right now at home, the podcast is almost over. You're like, no, only 5 more minutes. What am I going to do with this time when it's done? You can go ahead and go to twitter.com and look up our usernames on there. The Sonic Movie Show can be found at Sonic Movie Show. I was Ethan. You can find me on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely. Go ahead and find Devin on Twitter at Cursona YouTube. That's Cursona YouTube. Find us on YouTube itself. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Google Play Music. If you use Libsyn as an actual place to listen to podcasts, lo and behold, you can find us there. They host us. Go ahead and go on those places. Give us 5-star reviews. Give us likes. Give us comments. What did you think of the Sonic movie? Are you going to go see it a second time like we did? Do you agree or disagree with us? Do you think we're completely stupid? Or do you think we're like the smartest people in the room? Go ahead and leave us those comments. Let us know. I kind of feel like I'm the latter, but I know I'm the former. Yeah, and look forward to next week where we're going to tell you all about the exciting stuff we're going to be doing in the future. I'm looking outside my window and there's a cop car right outside.
We're not done. This isn't it. We're just in the post-Sonic movie world.
And as we said before we started recording, I'm more excited for this than the movie itself.
Damn.
On that note, catch you later.
Smell you later, guys.